When you watching this the first time, you not thinking like this, bro.
Not like the people on set didn't know what they were going for. Jamie's castmate recalled,
"We heard the boys saying it's a shot."
Like, not only is
Swear to God.
framing and all, and he even...
My God, bro. God damn. You never realize this shit when you watching it for the first time, bro.
I mean, check out whose photo is in Tori's locker on Doodalicious magazine, surrounded by all these other heartthrobs her character is in love with, labeled Who's Hot?
Again, you don't realize this shit when you first watch it. That you never realize. That's the title of the video. You never realize.
It is what it is. Let the past be the past. Just know Bam gonna be good and turn up on their ass.
It's your time. It's his time. It's Bam's time. It's time to shine. Your time to shine too. Yes, you. Hey, check it out, man. Before I even read the title of the video, I saw something online, like on Twitter a while back, probably a couple months back. There was like something going on with the Nickelodeon dude, Dan Schneider. I forget, because, you know, I was a big Nickelodeon fan, Teen Nick, all that. You know, they had the best shows. TV is honestly trash now. TV is not the same. We had Zoe 101. We had Drake and Josh. We had not Victoria Justice. We had Victorious. We had, what else? They tried to replace him with the weak-ass Sam and Cat. That shit was weak. They tried to replace it with Henry Danger. That shit was trash. Bro, the Haunted Hathaways, that shit was weak. Like, bro, TV just isn't the same. That's why a lot of people transition to YouTube. People are watching YouTubers like we're TV people, and we are in a different way. But I could go on and on about all, you know, you had the Big Time Rush, all that. I wasn't too big on that, but that one was, you know, it was decent. You had Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, all this shit, you know, Sweet Life on Deck. Like, the shit just is trash now. But I never knew about what was going on with the Dan Schneider dude. I never knew what was going on. I didn't even know. I'm just seeing tweets on Twitter. It was a lot of shit going on. Like, I don't want to put misinformation out there, but I heard it was like harassment. It was something going on. That's why we got this long ass video that we're about to react to. Anyways, though, appreciate the new subscribers. Let's keep it going, man. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the community. Feel me? And if you're new to the community, handle your business if you like what I'm about to do. Handle your business afterwards. Make sure you handle your business. Let's get straight to the video.
Disgusting things about Nickelodeon and Dan Schneider. But did you know there were so many things they had to leave out for a variety of reasons? The producers of the documentary had to rely on people who were willing to go on the record, and a ton of people who could speak out are legitimately scared for their careers. And that's where we come in. Because since we aren't airing on national television, I can get into...
That is the one problem about once you get on television. You can't speak your mind. But on YouTube, even on YouTube, you still gotta watch what you say. But it's not the same as being on TV under contracts and all this. It's not the same, bro. Because think about it, we would have never known this. But when you on TV, you have to watch. They saying people are literally scared out their minds, and I believe them. Because why is this all coming out now, 2024? But when this happened, nothing was being said, because you know why? They want to keep going with their careers. They know if they talk about it, what's gonna happen. They can't keep going. They in a messed up predicament.
All sorts of things that Quiet on Set couldn't even touch. While yes, some of these revelations are based in speculation or rumors, some of them have been corroborated and openly discussed by people who were there. And most of this stuff is way more outrageous than what was covered in the documentary. So let's get into the full story of what really happened to these victims of Dan Schneider and Nickelodeon. Dan Schneider produced and wrote some of the most impactful kids shows of the last 3 decades, like
So he was the
iCarly,
producer,
Victorious, the
iCarly.
Amanda Show, all that.
I left iCarly out. I think I said Zoe 101. Drake and Josh, Victorious, iCarly too. I forgot about them. That was That show was it.
Drake and Josh, and more. But by pretending to be this faux father figure to the vulnerable child stars on his sets, he's molded his protege's brains to make them susceptible to not only his fantasies, but the sexual fantasies of his creepy friends and even some colleagues on set. And his reach even spread beyond the child actors. He was fulfilling his fantasies through the kids at home who watched the shows. That sounds wild and dark, I know, but the evidence is all there. The subliminal messages, the court cases, the hush money, the psychology behind it all, the feet, so many feet, and even the bombshells so huge Nickelodeon's been forking out money to silence them for years. Like multiple pregnancy scandals. And it all starts with Dan's first golden child. Like multiple pregnancy scandal.
Is this why we never? Is this why Nick? That's probably why I got. That's probably he probably couldn't. If all this is true, it looks like it's true. He couldn't produce no more. That's probably, and granted, what he did is weird. He's weird as hell. But bro did he produced some hit shows. That's probably why the shows is trash now. He probably not even in. They probably don't got him in office anymore. But this is crazy. I feel bad for these victims. But let's keep going. Let's see what's going on.
And it all starts with Dan's first
Jamie Lynn Spears
victim,
pregnancy scandal.
the purest example of Dan's desire to be both a dark father figure and an exploitative admirer. Amanda Bynes.
Amanda Bynes. Who's that? I never heard of her.
Before we go any further, I need you to keep in mind as we go through this roller coaster of disgust that this is how young Amanda was the first time a 30-year-old Dan scouted her in one of these creepy comedy showcases for children. Initially, Dan hadn't intended to add any new talent to his current show, all that, but as soon as he saw Amanda, he was obsessed.
Is God sitting up there in heaven looking down at me and saying, Amanda's had it pretty easy?
I ain't seen this show.
Quickly put her on his show and immediately began showcasing an intense favoritism and unsettling obsession with his newest protege.
There would be times where Amanda would just be missing. And a lot of times we would just hear that she would be with Dan.
You have to remember, Dan was the dream maker for all these young, aspiring stars. But most of these kids didn't get the Star is Born, plucked from a comedy stage moment. They had to go through rounds and rounds of casting that had creepy elements themselves. We'll get back to those. Or for some others, they'd have to rise through the ranks at Dan's notorious child comedy boot camps. And yes, it gets immediately creepy. Because these comedy boot camps, where kids were sent without their parents, not only were they run by Dan and special guests like convicted pedophile
Brian Peck. I still ain't never heard of him either.
Peck, who we'll get back to, but also these comedy boot camps, for some reason, entailed regular kid-only pool parties. That's right, no parents, just grown men and a bunch of very young Hollywood hopefuls in bathing suits. It's been said that Megan Fox and Hilary Duff both got their big breaks from these creepy pool parties too. I mean, it certainly adds an ick factor to the hot tub interviews on the Amanda Show, where a preteen Amanda Bynes in a bathing suit hung out with adult characters, frequently men, in a hot tub.
It's crazy how you never really, because you're a kid. You're also a kid watching these shows. So it's crazy how a lot of this stuff was right in front of your face, watching it. I think this clip looks familiar, but I still don't know the show. I probably skim past it, skimming through channels, you know, when you're watching TV and shit. Y'all know how that go. But it's crazy. Like I said, when you a kid, you're not really peeping weird shit. Because now that I'm thinking about it, if I go back, I seen Drake and Josh. Well, no, that one, no, never mind. That was different. That was nothing like this. It was just a little weird scene that I probably, you know. But this one, you don't think like that when you a kid until you get older. And you be like, wait, why did they have a girl who was in her, you know? But they like, oh, it's acting, it's part of the thing. Which sometimes it is. It's not all dudes that is weird and doing weird shit. Or all women that's doing weird shit. But it's just that's what makes it hard to make a good TV show. Because people got to understand when you acting, it's acting. we really got to make it believable, you know? But it's so hard to do that because of these weird ass people who are involved in the TV world and all this weird stuff going on and the weird narrative going on. It's like, hey, bro, it's damn near to the point where I don't want, you damn near want a female producer, because ain't nobody gonna look at a female producer as a predator or nothing like that. Women kind of get a pass in that, even though they are predators. There's a lot of them, but that's just something that they aren't viewed badly in, you know? So if a female producer has like the script, okay, y'all got to be in this set together, it don't look that bad versus if a man had it. But this shit, now that I look at it, yeah, that's a little weird.
Of course, this recurring segment was created by Dan. He loves putting kids in these adult situations where even a grown woman would be objectified. But not only was he writing these sketches for fictional characters, he wrote himself into an interview and openly bragged about his power over the whole situation.
Now, you're the executive producer of the show.
Yes, I'm the executive producer and the head writer.
You actually wrote the words we're saying to each other right now.
Yes, I wrote this whole conversation that we're having right now.
And that's one thing that's important to remember about Dan. Unlike some showrunners who write and produce in the background, Dan wanted to be seen as the mastermind behind these shows. I mean, he did start out as an actor, and he frequently wrote in cameos for himself to put a face to his status as the creator. But one thing Dan notoriously was not was nice. So it's a bit suspicious just how much he invested in Amanda. When her own TV pilot failed after all that, Dan came to the rescue and pitched Nickelodeon on The Amanda Show. When The Amanda Show ended,
I heard of The
he
Amanda
did a
Show.
new
Now that-
TV show for her, What I Like About You. He even propelled
Haven't
her
heard of
film
that.
career by casting her.
So that last scene was from The Amanda Show. The Amanda Show, that sounds familiar, but that scene that like I said, I probably skimmed through it maybe, but I don't.
In her first movie, Big Fat Liar. But apparently
Never
the
seen that.
reason he liked working with her so much was because it seemed like her parents cared more about Amanda's potential fame than about her well-being.
Amanda Bynes' parents were very hands-on with her career. Specifically her dad. A big part of that was his relationship with Dan Schneider. They carefully crafted Amanda's career.
This extra attention her father put into her career makes sense because even though Amanda's dad was a dentist, he had always wanted to be a stand-up comedian. He was living his dream through Amanda.
They decided to put the automatic teller machine into the lobby of a police station. So now when you get robbed, you don't have to wait around all day for the cops to show up.
And so when it came to exactly how Dan wanted to interact with Amanda, how they would spend their time together, her parents were completely hands-off. People have recalled Dan coming right up behind Amanda and hanging on her like a boyfriend, pressed up against her with his arms around her in front of her parents, and they didn't do anything. I mean, this is Miranda Cosgrove, but would you be okay with your kid's boss doing this to them?
Now that we think about it, that is weird, bro. Like I said, when you watching this shit, you younger, so you not looking at it like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, and now that you older, you looking at it like, wait, what? You know? But then there's some scenes where you have, you know, Spencer would, Spencer. You know, you have scenes where it gets tricky. It gets tricky because there's scenes where it's not necessarily him, but somebody else who's older than her. You get what I'm saying? So the shit is tricky, bro. It can go either way. Sometimes.
Like, seriously, Dan's sets were weird. I have a friend with connections to one of Dan's shows, and they confirmed that not only would kids be brought in for one-on-one meetings with Dan when their parents weren't around, but people on...
He would have private meetings with the kids and also told them to call him daddy. All right, bro. Where is this message? Like, I'm not sitting here saying it's not true or it is true, but I gotta know. Because this, bro, I gotta know. There's no way. And if it is, man, bro, I gotta know. It's hard.
Called Dan daddy? He really wanted...
It's hard to tell if that's real or not, bro.
I mean, look at
Like,
who
where?
he gravitated toward to lead his shows. Jamie Lynn Spears' father was a notoriously absent alcoholic. Jeanette McCurdy, abusive mom and distant father. Victoria Justice, divorced parents. Ariana Grande,
not that
absent
bad.
father. And Amanda's nightmare relationship with her parents made her a perfect fit too, especially as she aged and grew even more distance from them.
Amanda tries to run away from home, and in this moment, she turns to Dan for help. Amanda's parents are really, really upset with Dan's actions through this.
But Something that didn't come up in the documentary is how, beyond the running away, according to Dan's wife, Amanda was basically living with her and Dan at 16 years old when she tried to file for emancipation. And while all of this was playing out, Dan was also changing how Amanda was portrayed on his shows. Now that she was high school aged, Dan apparently thought the content she was in could mature up too.
He thought that he should be the one to kind of usher Amanda into adulthood.
So he created What I Like About You for her, which was so much wrong.
Into adulthood.
So he...
The Amanda show. That's why I paused it. What the fuck? Was did the Amanda show, correct me if I'm wrong, but did the Amanda show star pretty much the Drake and Josh cast? Were they in it too? Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen this, but maybe if it was just one of them, but it's literally all three of them. All three of them was in the Amanda show too, or did they just get this clip, this particular slideshow of this video wrong?
What I Like About You for her,
I don't know.
Which was so much raunchier than his normal Nickelodeon stuff. I was genuinely shocked when I realized it was one of his shows. I mean, my friend told me that watching What I Like About You after school was how she learned about erections.
Aww, I love duckies.
Uh-oh.
Duckies are moving. Duckies are moving.
I mean, even the way sex is treated on the show is so casual and overt.
You've been together a month and you haven't done it yet? How did you get Ben to wait a month to do it? I mean, I know you got a great personality, but it's not that great.
I mean, reminder, she wasn't suddenly an adult now. At 16, Dan had her doing these supposedly comedic bits, like a whole scene dedicated to her skirt being too short, or covering her body in mud, or how about cake sitting, which is literally a porn genre. These two characters are supposed to be sisters, and yet they're smearing chocolate all over each other's boobs and turning it into chocolate mud wrestling. And if you're thinking it's all harmless comedy, you're taking it the wrong way. Well, they showed us they wanted us to think about it sexually because the wrestling ends with her boyfriend walking in and saying,
God bless America.
And just look at the comments on the videos themselves. While some people are complaining about how skimpy her clothes always are, others are suggesting how to make the scenes more sensual by having her strip fully naked or dubbing the chocolate wrestling as...
Maybe this is just something because it's on Nickelodeon or Teen Nick or some shit like that. Because when you make... Because y'all know I'm about to get into the short film shit. And this is exactly why, bro, you got to think. If you have multiple people on a set, this is what gets very, 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 very tricky. And that's why you see a lot of shows is terrible. You go on Tubi. Tubi has, I hope I'm not messing up a bag in the future, but Tubi, y'all got to step it up with your movies. Yeah, I could be in some of them damn movies, bro. Real shit. But y'all will try to, I don't want to do too much. I don't want nobody to be uncomfortable, which is, I 100% agree. But then there are certain stuff where you got to be like, all right, this is acting. You know what I'm saying? But it is an age limit. There's a time and place. What I'm trying to say is there's a time and place for everything. There are certain age limits. If she's 16, 17, then yes, there should be certain things, that should not go down. But you got to look at it from both angles too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, bro. It's just sometimes it gets really tricky doing being a producer and all this extra stuff, being a big time producer, and it just gets tricky, man. That's why sometimes some people turn these type of jobs down because I don't want something to go wrong. Everybody looking at me, or they don't agree with this one thing on the script, and they looking at me like, But there are some. Don't get me wrong. The calling, if that's real, hey, call me daddy, or I want to know there's no context needed to explain behind that, even if they had parent issues or whatever. I just don't know, bro. I think some stuff that I seen with Dan Schneider is really weird for sure, but let's keep going.
One of the hottest bits ever on TV. Thanks to Dan's second father status and the control he had over pretty much everything in Amanda's environment, Amanda was conditioned for all of this years before. I mean, even the shows she was on, like all of Dan's female-led shows, had hardly any parents in sight. Just look at his male-led shows like Drake and Josh and Henry Danger versus the female-led shows like The Amanda Show, What I Like About You, iCarly, or Zoe 101, where the parents are either absent, abroad, or have sent their kids to boarding school. The closest we got was Victorious with some occasional parental appearances, but for the most part, Dan's female-led shows were set in a girls gone wild world where chaperones were either dopey teachers or unprepared older siblings. Consciously or not, Dan was trying to create the same environment in the show that he wanted on set. Young girls with no real traditional role models besides him, of course.
You know, sometimes parents are so dumb.
Former child actor and dancer Allison Stoner actually has a super insightful podcast called Dear Hollywood about the effect fame and acting has on children's psychological development and why so many child stars struggle with mental health, addiction, and cycles of abuse, just like Amanda did in adulthood. And one thing they go over is the way kids' brains encode memories.
You know, movies are full of intense scenes, and as a child, if I'm reenacting this, or even just pretending to witness it, I'm enrolling myself in that experience as if it's real. I couldn't separate what was mine or the characters. Remember, my brain literally couldn't separate reality from fantasy.
So it's scarily easy to normalize things for a child through exposure and repetition, like Dan did both on set and in the real world and in the shows themselves. Like going to people who aren't your parents for advice because your parents just don't get it, or valuing friendships over familial relationships. Both of those are tactics used by predators to destabilize children's support systems, so they won't go running to their mom when something sketchy happens. And then there's the more blatantly creepy things Dan was normalizing for kids like Amanda. For instance, touching grown men while you talk.
You know, I did something special for you.
Or having kids in close proximity physical encounters with grown-ups. That's clearly...
Let me see. I don't know. I've never seen any of these pictures. I guess a more professional picture for sure would just be standing side by side posing or like this, smiling, you know what I'm saying? But like this and all this extra shit, I ain't doing none of that, bro.
Been made into learned and normalized behavior. And it stems from her boss normalizing interactions like this.
I definitely saw Amanda being very close physically with Dan. There were many times that I saw Amanda sitting behind him, hugging him, or giving him like a neck massage or whatever.
All right, yeah, bro. It's about, bro. After this video, I'm about to look up what happened to him, or maybe they gonna tell me in this video. Okay, come on, bro. That is, and this is early 2000s too, man. So you can get away with this goofy shit too. Can't get away with that now. That's probably why this didn't come out until now. How old is this video? 6 months ago. Yeah.
There's the normalization of taking drugs to improve your attitude, with Dan allegedly giving Amanda Adderall, the drug that would eventually send her to rehab, just to make her appear peppier. But also at times erratic, like in this clip.
It's hard. You know, I was gonna put you like in a little tutu or something, but you know. Really? No.
Or there's the normalization of being sexualized, even when they aren't old enough to understand it. And Dan had been over-sexualizing Amanda from very early on. Just look at this clip from Dan's own behind-the-scenes footage. Dan is asking Amanda about this spit-operated contraption that he wrote into the script, mind you, and keeps zooming in on her face while she talks about spitting into the machine and demonstrates where her mouth goes. I mean, even young Drake Bell seems to know the sexual implications from the uncomfortable giggling. Also, take a look at young Drake Bell here. As Quiet on Set only just revealed, this was the age that he was suffering from his own abuser on set. So yeah, as far back as The Amanda Show, Dan was hard at work creating a world where all of inappropriate touching and drugs and
I never saw him like that though. Yeah, I know who I never saw him like that. And I never knew The Amanda Show had Drake Bell and Josh Pekin and the mom from Drake and Josh on it. I never watched it.
Sexual jokes and absentee parents and exploitation was all just normal for these kids. But actually, one of the weirdest...
Wait, but it wasn't absent parents on iCarly though. Freddie's mom was always there. Now, iCarly and Spencer's dad, he only appeared like in one episode, I think, other than that TV, like they had he only appeared physically in one episode. And then Sam's mom only appeared in, I think, one episode too. So I guess it's only really one. Okay, you can get that. One parent. It was really just one parent for the most part that appears somewhat consistently being Freddie's mom. And then, you know, you had Spencer being her guardian. But I never really looked, like I said, you don't really look at it like that. Because like I said, when iCarly came out, when did iCarly come out? That was like, what, 2007, 8? When iCarly came out, I think. And it finished... Carly was officially done in like 2011 or something like that. Like, you ain't thinking like that. 2011, I'm in like 5th, 6th grade, bro. So
unsettling things that Dan forced into normalcy was an obsession with feet. Like a foot fetishist's fantasy, there were feet everywhere in Dan's shows, usually those of children. And it's not just for comedy, but also in totally suggestive ways.
Alright, these are man feet though, bro. Unless if he's going that direction, these are man feet.
Oh, yeah. Yes!
Foot massages were a big thing, but also general toe play. There were feet in ketchup, feet in fish tanks, feet shooting bows and arrows.
Feel these kids' feet. Wow, they're really soft.
This is weird as hell. But like I said, Victorious came out in what year? What year I was, bro. You still young as hell. You not thinking like this, bro. You not really peeping like, damn, they keep on, you know, you're not thinking like that. It's crazy.
There's even this shot of Miranda Cosgrove in a bathtub recreating the toe scene from the Dick Van Dyke Show, which kind of makes me feel like that was a personal favorite scene of Dan's growing up. And then in the most blatant fetishization, Ariana Grande even sucked her own toe while sitting on a bed performing for a camera in character. Nickelodeon even changed its logo to a foot for a while. But this foot fetish even extended into the audition process.
She is the female Trap Ross, bro. She's the female Trap Ross, for sure.
On the podcast Revenge of the Sis, an anonymous caller who'd auditioned for a Dan Schneider show said,
And we flew out to LA for this audition, and when we got there, it was a bunch of kids. Once about 40 kids were selected, we were then told, take off our shoes, and that we were each going to go into a room to show the producer, who is Dan Schneider. And my agent told me, you got to just take off your shoes, just like run around in front of the camera, you know, talk about how much you love being barefoot. My mom kind of looked around and was like, this is wrong. There's just something really wrong about this.
And the feet pics didn't stop at the auditions. Alexa Nicholas from Zoe 101 recalled Dan walking around on set with a camera and literally offering money in exchange for feet pictures. And Dan even solicited feet pics from kids at home, too. With his show, Sam and Cat, tweeting right on the bottom of your foot, take a pic and use hashtag Sam and Cat.
This weak ass show too. Sam and Cat, that shit was so trash, bro. Oh my god. That probably didn't even last up to 2 seasons. That shit was so weak. But this is crazy. You really never know. You really never know. And then it take one courageous person to speak out, and then they get a whole investigation going on. This is probably why nobody wants their kids being actors no more, because of weird shit like this.
Saturday, we'll retweet and follow until our fingers get sore. And just in case you're wondering, did Dan just not know about foot fetishes?
That sounds like something he tweeted. He didn't even have like a person. You know how they got people running accounts? That sound like he tweeted, like he typed that shit personally.
Well, people are grossed out over this flirty tweet he sent to his wife in 2013. At Hungry Girl.
Do you want to go to the first drive? Do you want to go? It's too cute, yeah. I mean, he sent that to his wife.
Do you want to go into our room and watch Too Cute? We have 4 on our DVR. I'll rub your feet. I'm sorry, but with all the foot pics and the innuendos and the blatant toe sucking, this just sounds like an obvious code for adult stuff. Adult activities while watching an Animal Planet show literally described as documenting infants in the animal kingdom.
I didn't know what that show was. But he's tweeting at his wife. I don't know about that one.
Normalizing all of this foot stuff. I mean, even down to keeping your feet manicured manicured and toes painted consistently, Dan was pimping out these child actors to do all these weird fetishized acts that people pay money to see grown adults do on OnlyFans. And he was grooming them to think it's normal.
Again, like I said, I'm not saying it's not weird. It's a lot of weird. Bro's looking like a real weirdo, and I hope they don't let him do none of this shit ever again. But again, us as the viewers, we weren't thinking like that at that age. For the most part, I don't know anybody who would ever at that age would be like, yeah, bro, Dan Schneider a weirdo. Didn't even really know him like that. We knew he was behind Nickelodeon, so we didn't know him like that. Now, now everything's coming out to the light. Everybody's seeing what's going on, things of that nature. Cause, yeah, I don't know, man. This shit is kind of wicked. I've been hearing about this, but I never really sat down and tried to really see what was going on. Cause some people put stuff on Twitter that be so fake, bro. Like today, somebody they tried to say Lil Durk side chick posted him. It was a Photoshop pic, and these goofies under the comments really believe in it. You just can't believe everything you see.
As early as those auditions. Think about what it's teaching
We be
your
needing
kids.
receipts.
If you take your shoes off and run around exactly how daddy wants you to, he'll make you a star. And since they did it in the audition, why would they be weirded out by being barefoot on set or shooting a scene with their toes? And then getting $50 for someone to take a picture of your feet starts to sound like a silly thing to get upset about. It's all conditioning these kids to A, see all these weird asks as normal, and B, focus on making Dan happy at...
That's probably why we didn't see, not that we didn't see nothing wrong with it, we just didn't think of it at the time. This certain, like kissing in a scene, that's needed in a show, bro. That's needed. I don't care what anybody says. Certain scenes are needed in shows. You don't have to have full sex scenes or sex scenes, period. But kissing and stuff like that, that's needed. Some sort of intimacy is needed in a show to make it good. It's real life. It's supposed to be as if it's literally, that's what acting is, bro. It's like, this shit, you're such a good actor that we thought this shit was real. You know what I mean?
Any cost. It's totally exploiting the fact that child actors are taught to be grateful for the opportunity to even have a job. It's an industry of no's, so when you get a yes, you're supposed to keep saying yes to whatever it takes.
I could agree with that.
Who's gonna say, no, never mind, I'm giving up my dream job and quitting? But where were the adults? Well, remember, parents were actively discouraged from coming on set. And then the other adults who were there to make the show were actually suffering through their own abuses.
All right, here's the harassment. That's what I've been waiting.
Writers on The Amanda Show told us that this experience was really one of the most disturbing in their careers.
Working for Dan was like being in an abusive relationship.
Shit.
Now, just to set the stage, in the 90s, it was still hard for women to even get positions in writers' rooms. I mean, the Center for the Study of Women in Television and Film says only 13% of writers were women in 1998. It was actually so hard to break in as new female writers that Christy Stratton and Jenny Kilgan had to actually share a salary. And as it turns out, just like the kids, a lot of the adults on these shows were also handcuffed to this workplace as their only chance at achieving their dreams.
This was my dream job. I mean, this is what I wanted. I'm not about to turn it down.
Which means they were also at the mercy of Dan.
Dan could be very volatile.
That's another reason why I always say I don't work good with people, bro. Because of shit like that. You're gonna have to, because when you pursuing your dream, bro, and then you got to be at the mercy of a weirdo. Not a weirdo because y'all just don't. Oh, it's two types of weirdos. Weirdo because they having you do weird shit like this person, and then weirdo just because this person just likes shit done a certain way, or he's very, very try to be too perfect. There's certain types of people that you'd rather work with. A person who tries to always have it point on, spot on, perfect. It gets mentally draining, but that at least it's nothing weird being done to you. Then you have the weirdo who's doing this shit like this, making certain acts, make him take off your shoes, these weird feet pics, all this extra shit, talking about y'all gotta call me daddy, taking weird photos with them, being a little too touchy with them and stuff like that. I always say I don't work good with people for the simple fact I work good, I get along with people. It's just certain things, bro. I don't want to be at the, like, if I'm trying to be in a short film, I don't want to be under a weird ass producer. And then it's like, well, this is my dream. I got to keep going with it. I got to keep doing what I don't like. You got to work, because they say you got to work with people you don't like to get what you want in life. You think everybody likes everybody they work with? That's the main thing you hear, and I agree with that. That's true. But me, hell nah. Bro, I think that's why it take me so long to get up now, because bro, I be doing majority of shit y'all see. Not majority. I do everything on my own. I edit on my own. Make my thumbnails on my own. Everything. Shoot the videos. Record. I sometimes get my boy Don to be the cameraman. My boy Namdi. They be the cameraman sometimes, you know. But other than that, I do everything on my own. For reasons like this. Once you start working with people, all this weird shit come out, bro. When I record the short film, bro, it's my shit. I literally have the story and what is it gonna be about. I'm just gonna have a cameraman, like having all these producers and shit, you don't gotta get all these producers and all this extra shit to do what you want, because they start doing weird shit like this. Don't get me wrong, the shows, Zoe 101, iCarly, all those shows were hits, but it's crazy that all this is coming to the light now, and then you never even knew when you were a kid what was really going on.
Scared. As the showrunner, Dan was their boss as well as someone they had to interact with daily in close quarters. It's not like the other studio execs who just pop in from time to time. The showrunner's word is final on set. Well, this showrunner not only told his employees multiple times that he didn't think women were funny, he also was known to scream at people when he didn't get his way, which makes it extra uncomfortable and intimidating that this grown man who will happily scream in your face started pestering his female writers for massages. And if that's not bad enough, guess who he also asked for massages from various sources over the years? The kids on his shows too. But outside of the massages, Dan would find all kinds of ways to flex how much power he had over these women.
Scream, "I'm an idiot," or "slut." And if you didn't, he would send you the message again. He would scream out, "Say it," until you did.
And if that wasn't unprofessional enough,
Dan was showing pornography on his computer screen.
But perhaps the most disturbing was when he made a female writer pantomime sodomy to humiliate her.
Dan was just said, "You know what would be funny? If you leaned over the table and acted like you were being sodomized. She couldn't get out of it. You know, he's begging her. But she just leaned over the table and did what he asked her to do. It was probably the wrongest thing I've ever seen happen to a woman in a professional environment ever.
But despite the fact that Christy endured all of this torture, Dan still fired her 3 days before the end of season 1. And Jenny only lasted a few days into season 2 before being bullied into quitting. And in Dan's recent softballed interview, he seriously downplays his role in this treatment and any threats of retaliation against these women for complaining. But he completely failed to acknowledge Jenny's report of how things went down.
He had gotten caught doing something ethically wrong and said, if I find out you told on me, I'm going to do something even worse to you. You're not going to work again.
And despite knowing that her writing career would be
so I can't be at the mercy, like,
over, Jenny went ahead and filed a lawsuit against Dan and Nickelodeon, all in hopes that it would prevent anyone from suffering the way she did. Unfortunately, while her career stalled out, Dan's kept going. After that, Dan went on to have largely, if not all, male writers' rooms. Which begs the question, if Dan hated women so much and was so convinced that they are not funny, why did the vast majority of his very comedic shows center around young girls trying to be funny? Well, that's because some things were funnier when girls were doing them, or...
Okay, this shit was trash. This don't even include that. Zoe 101, The Victorious. I'll give you those ones. iCarly. Zoe 101. I wouldn't really call that one funny, to be honest, but
or at least they were to Dan. And a perfect and disgusting
Those was
example
hits.
involves Jamie Lynn Spears. While filming Zoe 101,
Yeah, what happened with her, bro?
Spears shot a scene that is so suggestive, we can't even include it in this video without it getting flagged by YouTube.
What?
For all these setups that reference
yet it aired on national television on a kids show. Basically, her
I watched every what was so like that's really like what was it? I watched every episode of that. Maybe I missed something.
co-star Alexa Nicholas was supposed to squirt a goo pop at Jamie Lynn, but Dan was creepily specific about how it had to land on this 13-year-old's face. Instead of letting the goo fall where it may, they took the shot again and again, and even brought in a props person with a syringe to strategically make sure it hit her face exactly how Dan wanted it. Like, look how intentional that is.
This is the backpack episode, right? Brody, I ain't gonna lie. It's like, I'm not saying that they lying, bro. Obviously not, 'cause I already said, bro, it's weird because the touching stuff, it's already confirmed with him. But I never, like I said, I'm gonna keep saying it again. When you watching this the first time, you not thinking like this, bro. You not thinking like this. You're not thinking like this at all. This is crazy. Now that he did this, bro, I'm like, now that they're pointing this out in the video, you know what you're thinking of when you see a picture like this now in a 20-plus-year-old's mind. After she just said the sexual pornography shit, you know what you're thinking as soon as you see a picture like this, bro. You know what you're thinking. This is crazy, bro. I'm not saying that this ain't like, because part of me was all like, I think some things in this video off the rip are going to get taken out of context. But now I'm starting to see like, okay. But what made him say I wanted to land like this? Like what? That's so weird.
It's crossing her lip. And it's not like the people on set didn't know what they were going for. Jamie's castmate recalled,
"We heard the boys saying it's a shot."
Like, not only is...
Swear to God. That's what I'm saying. You know what you thought when you heard it. But I never... Bro. They must have been older. They weren't yet. This is crazy, bro. This is crazy, bro.
Castmate recalled,
"We heard the boys saying it's a shot."
Like, not only is it one big sick joke to Dan, it's as if he's making these shows for two audiences. Kids and his own friends.
This is why... Like I said, we never thought of it like that because we was kids at the time watching this. We never once thought of it's that type of thing, you know, a nut shot or whatever.
But he's also capitalizing on the fear of being the odd one out. If you're a young girl who doesn't get a sexual joke, but everyone else is laughing, 9 times out of 10, you're just going to uncomfortably giggle and move on. You don't want to be the prude. Alexa's actually a great example, too, of how hard it was for even the best parents to keep tabs on set, because something they didn't mention in the documentary is, not only did Dan insist on sitting in on all of her wardrobe fittings,
I would hear the chair like creaking if he even breathed. Now looking back at that, it doesn't seem right because I never experienced that ever again. That was only a Dan experience.
When
she wasn't in season 3, so did she leave because of the weird shit that kept happening? That makes sense why a lot of girls left, because Dana wasn't in season 2. Dana left. Nicole was still there. She left after season 2. So Dana left after season 1. Nicole left after season 2. So maybe they left because I'm starting to realize when people aren't in shows anymore, 9 times out of 10 it's for a negative reason, because something weird happened. There's rare cases where a person just they went off to school, or they just chose, they got an opportunity at another show, whatever the case may be, they just made a business decision. It's very rare. And Moesha, the stepmom, she literally stopped being in episodes because she didn't agree with how they made it look like, oh, now he's bro's father. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just be... Every time a character leaves, bro, just knows because of some weird shit. Or because the storyline didn't matter no more. Like, I'm starting to... I don't know. Like when Billy died in All American, I don't know what the fuck made them say, let's have Billy die. Maybe it was something going on in the show that we didn't know about.
Standing there in these skimpy skirts and the wardrobe person is taking photos, Dan...
He would also want the Polaroids.
Oh, that's foul.
The what?
And after Alexa got bullied by Jake...
Polaroids.
Polaroids? What's that?
Oh, that's foul.
And after Alexa got bullied by Jamie Lynn on set, Dan isolated Alexa from her mom, screamed at her that it wasn't her show, and allegedly flat out...
They didn't get along? I forgot about that, bro. That's how long ago this shit was.
Said nobody likes you. That was one of his biggest defense mechanisms.
Like I said, I promise I haven't watched. That's why she left after season 2. That's why she probably left after season 2.
Fear of people hating you, of getting fired and blacklisted, fear of a grown man screaming in your face. Dan relied on the power dynamics of kids being told to listen to adults and the child actor psyche of it literally being your job to please all of the grown-ups. It's more like how a father would interact with a child than a boss interacting with an employee. And when that didn't work, there's always money. Another thing Quiet on Set didn't touch on for some reason, even though they had Alexa interviewed, was that when Alexa finally started talking about all of this as an adult, she got a call from Dan's lawyer asking her how much she needed for her to be quiet. But here's where it gets really scary. It wasn't just Dan offering hush money, it was Nickelodeon itself.
They had it in the budget. They would actually have it in the budget for hush money.
Jeanette McCurdy, who starred in iCarly, revealed in her book that Nickelodeon had also offered her hush money to the tune of $300,000. Jeanette explained that it was an attempt to silence her about her time working with Dan. Just keep that in mind as you start to see Nickelodeon's new statement popping up in articles where they profess their commitment to fostering a safe and professional workplace environment free of harassment or other kinds of inappropriate conduct, and then tell people to take money and shut up. Well, Jeanette didn't take the money, and she revealed yet another creepy depiction of Dan on set, describing times when he offered her massages, he's obsessed with massages, took a photo of her in a bikini, and despite being underage, tried to peer pressure her into drinking, explaining that he already had the Victorious cast drinking regularly.
Yeah, bro is weird. This dude is weird, and this is ladies who are trying to be actors. You really got, now that y'all see this, because they did this homework for us, so now we're aware because of them, so we got to thank them. Well, I said us like I'm a lady, but y'all know what I mean. Like, y'all know what I mean. That came out wrong. But just do your research and do your homework on whoever you signing with. You know, whoever you signing with, whoever you trying to work with, you an actor and all that. Just do your research. You know what I'm saying? You know, make sure to tune into videos like this so y'all know not to work for these creeps and these weirdos. Because, yeah, a person can change. He may change his dial. I doubt he's doing any producing anymore after all this shit. I don't know. But they offering her. If they offering you a bag about something, oh, yeah, whatever you talking about, it's factual. If you offering a bag for somebody to take this specific part out of a video, oh, what you're talking about in the video is factual because they wouldn't care if it was in it or not. You know what I'm saying? So if they're offering you hush money, oh yeah, he guilty.
And the iCarly cast needed to loosen up. But as we're seeing repeatedly with Dan, he's always needed to loosen up. But as
this is why girls don't like their man having female friends, because this man dated both of his friends. Think about it. Him and Sam had that rocky friendship. They hated each other, but they was friends at the same time. He dated her, then dated her, then kissed her at the end of the show. But I still haven't seen the new iCarly. I honestly don't watch reboots, bro. They're always weak. So I don't know. But he dated both of his friends.
We're seeing repeatedly with Dan, he's always strategic with his fixations. The massage requests and bikini pics and peer pressure was all much easier to push onto a girl like Jeanette, who was actively suffering abuse from her mom.
Really?
When Jeanette's book came out, a spokesperson for Dan and Nickelodeon wrote it off as just being a beautiful tribute to getting the help she needed to get through the trauma she experienced with balancing her family and a high-pressured work life. In reality, Dan capitalized on the fact that Jeanette wanted time away from her mom and the fact that she had to stay on his good side to keep her job. And he wasn't wrong. Jeanette did stay quiet and probably would have remained that way without the extensive years of therapy she's gone through. Jeanette even mentioned Dan's manipulation tactics in her book, saying he does this with every new star of a show he's making. He takes you under his wing, you're his favorite. He specifically did this with Miranda Cosgrove, buddying up to her as he elevated her from a side character to a star. And let's just remember, when she started Drake and Josh and first met Dan, Miranda looked like this. But really, this repeated behavior goes all the way back to before Amanda even. The whole reason he even saw Amanda at that children's comedy showcase was because a current All That star, Katrina Johnson, was performing there. Katrina was the first girl Dan thought of making a spin-off for, literally pitching it as The Katrina Show. But once he saw Amanda, it was out with the old and in with the new.
After that, I'm sort of like edged out by like a younger version of me.
Just as quickly as you could gain Dan's attention, it could be taken away, which is an abuse tactic.
You wanted Dan to like you, because if he didn't, he was mean to you.
And I know this seems like a lot of people saying they were uncomfortable, but you can actually see the discomfort in Dan's own BTS footage.
She say nice things about me? Because I will tase her if necessary.
Uh-oh.
I have the taser. We haven't had to use it in a long time. But
I said lots of nice things. These videos made me so nervous.
No. Why? It's too bad I didn't cast a pretty girl to play your girlfriend. Oh no. That's a little joke because you're ridiculously beautiful.
Hey.
Why are you sitting on the floor of the set?
Because we are. But the best examples of how Dan was exploiting these underage kids are in the shows themselves. I mean, you can only control a child's world so much, but on screen, it's a different story. Dan, who had been not just getting away with this behavior for a decade, but was being worshipped by the industry for his achievements, Dan was starting to take on the role of a god, and he wasn't subtle about making himself appear that way.
It's not our place to question that.
Yeah, Dan's a god, right?
Stop.
As the shows progressed, so did his boldness.
Want to get slapped with a sausage?
Sure.
I want to be on the wood. What's the wood? I want to be on it. It makes me look chesty.
Now we actually see multiple shots like the Goop Pop coming back over and over again with the corn framing and all. And he even...
My God, bro. God damn. You never realize this shit when you watching it for the first time, bro. This second time, third time, you don't realize this shit. She is the female Trapler Ross. I'm giving it to her, bro. She is a female Trapler Ross. It's that simple. It's that simple, bro. You don't realize this shit. She's the female version of Trapler Ross, bro.
leveled it up to squirting lotion on Daniela Monet's face. But then he took it a step even further with Ariana. Instead of being squirted by another actor, this one was way more suggestive, with very purposeful framing pulled directly out of porn. And if you think it's coincidentally similar to corn, how do you explain her squeezing a potato with both hands, yelling, "Come on, give up the juice"? But you also have to remember that he was approving all of their costumes, which were getting skimpier and skimpier as the years went on, putting them in things that some of the stars have said that they would never wear went on, putting them in things that some of the stars have said that they would never wear even now as an adult. And he was deciding who they should be and who they should be attracted to. I mean, check out whose photo is in Tori's locker on Doodalicious magazine, surrounded by all these other heartthrobs her character is in love with, labeled "Who's Hot?"
Again, you don't realize this shit when you first watch it. That you never realize. That's the title of the video. You never realize this when you first watch it. The worst Dan Schneider crimes. I never realized this.
By all these other heartthrobs her character is in love with, labeled "Who's Hot?" Dan Schneider. He was finally fully stepping into a comfort zone with Victorious, where he was untouchable enough to say, "This teenage girl is in love with me because I said so." But here's the most dangerous thing about Dan. It's not just what he does. It's what the people around him feel empowered to do in this safe haven of inappropriate behavior that he created. As they revealed in Quiet on Set, there were multiple convicted pedophiles working on Nickelodeon sets throughout Dan's time in charge. I mean, Quiet on Set went into not one, not on the shows. And there's even a fourth one they didn't cover. He worked as an editor for Nickelodeon and was literally caught on To Catch a Predator. Of the three they did include, one was a worker who brought a young boy to set and did things to him, and one was a production assistant who was so integrated on the set he even made it into some of the on-camera footage.
It was his job to basically walk the kids around the set.
The terrifying thing about all these predators is how methodically they work. We'll get into it even further in our next episode, but one of the key steps for them is to get really close to the kids' families. Since he seemed so safe, when Jason started emailing their daughter, MJ said she didn't think anything of it until he sent her daughter a picture of him touching himself.
He had also told this young girl, I can get you on other shows.
And it was even worse when the police caught him.
In 2003, they searched his home. They find this enormous trove of child pornography. 1,768 images of young girls in erotic poses, 238 images of young girls in sexually explicit poses, and 2 images of girls engaged in bondage activity.
They even found Jason's journal where he detailed all of his thoughts and even said,
I am a pedophile full-blown. I really have been giving in to my desire for little girls.
Meanwhile, a well-known vocal coach and actor in his 40s was actively abusing a minor throughout this entire period. And because of Quiet on Set, we now know that that minor was Drake Bell. There is so...
This... Now we know why Nickelodeon... We know why it's trash now. No good actors want to go work for that corporation because they know they everybody there is scum. Everybody there is scum. That's why. Look at this shit that was going on. Hold on, y'all. I gotta plug my shit in. My shit about to die on us. Hold on. Nobody wants to work with them, bro, because everything there is weak. Nobody wants to work because they all know what's going on. They all know what's going on. I never knew Drake Bell was involved in this shit too.
So much there that I'm going to dive deeper into what Drake went through and how it impacted his life choices in my next video.
I heard he got into some...
The main question when it comes to all of these predators running rampant on set is how could all of their behavior go unnoticed? I mean, it was so normalized to have these inappropriate, predatory, and grooming relationships on set that it even started being something to flaunt in front of others. For instance, Victoria's star Liz Gillies was 16 when she met one of Dan's friends who was writing songs for the show, and he was 36 at the time. And apparently, she became such good friends with this man, 20 years older than her, that the second she turned 18, they started dating and...
Bro, that's exactly what I'm talking about, bro. That predator shit is not cool, bro. It's no reason you should be... The minute 16, 36, and she turns 18, and then you're dating her, you been wanting to do that, bro. Ain't no, oh, she's 18, she's grown. No, bro. We got motherfucking... I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know what's going on with this shit, bro. This shit getting crazy. What happened to people dating around their age, bro? I don't know what's going on, man. This is crazy. That's Predator. That's Predator. 36 and 16, and then he ended up dating her when she turned she turned 18, so he was 40. You're old enough to be her dad. 40 and 18 years old, bro. And don't get me wrong, she went through with it. So it's not just on him, but still.
Moved in together. They're now married, so I genuinely hope she's okay, but here's the thing. Even if her husband didn't groom her, think about the environment Liz was in. By being involved with one of Dan's friends, it would save her from Dan and the multiple other creeps on set. I mean, remember, even the boys weren't safe. Drake Bell went through hell as a much younger child. Of course, Liz was going to pursue this more attractive, safe option. It was
He was a safe option? I guess. Look, I mean, I ain't heard no. I ain't mean to go. Fuck, I don't gotta apologize for shit, but I ain't heard nothing weird about him. But minus bro. Okay, so he wasn't like Dan. That's what she's saying, pretty much, right? But still, 36. So you were 36 years. I don't know, man.
Survival. So it was all just normal. Dan's literally taking pictures of kids' feet, and preteens are sitting in his lap, and no one was batting an eye. And then there's scenes like this where someone had to choreograph how they would do this to a grown man.
Are they doing it right?
And now we get to the big question. Dan created this environment filled with predators. He conditioned these kids. He was having Nickelodeon pay people for their silence. So, did Dan ever actually sleep with or try to sleep with any of these child actors?
Let's see, come on.
Though no one has outright come forward yet, there is some terrifyingly convincing evidence pointing to Dan as a predator himself.
Come on. Let's get to it.
Remember, coming forward with too big of claims against Dan and Nickelodeon is scary. And a lot of people...
I'm about to do this right now. This is crazy, but this is crazy, but you definitely the female Trapler Ross. Trapler Ross. With all this info. Actually, that's a joke. So let me not even joke like that on this video, because, you know, it's kind of a serious topic.
People have been paid for their silence. I mean, Quiet on Set literally set out to expose the toxic set, but left out some pretty major details about Dan's behavior from people they got for interviews, likely to avoid risks of legal action. So keep in mind here that what we're about to go over is definitely unsubstantiated. In fact, I'm throwing up a rumors flag in the corner here just so you don't forget that everything that follows is uncorroborated. But also, I tried to focus here on things that fans keep returning to as possibly having at least some amount of truth to them. As you might recall, the reason Zoe 101 got canceled in 2008 was because Jamie Lynn Spears got pregnant at 16. Well, some people think they're lying about who the father is. 2 months before Jamie Lynn announced her pregnancy, this blind item popped up saying that a female star on an ensemble teen show was not only pregnant, but it was by one of her producers. But not
Ain't no motherfucking way. Nah, that can't be true, because don't they... So, still to this day, they don't know who the dad is? Still to this day? Nah, that's a reach. Nah, that one I'm calling bullshit on. And even so, did he force her to have sex with him? I know she's a kid and he was older, but nah, I'm calling cap on that. That was bullshit. That's a reach. That shouldn't even be in the video. I ain't gonna lie, that's a reach. That's a rumor that shouldn't be be in this video. That should not be in this video.
Not only that, it concluded with new boyfriends are being lined up as we speak. Now, a lot of people have written this off because Jamie Lynn and Casey Aldridge had reportedly been dating for 2 years, but according to close family and friends, that was not the full story. Not only were Jamie Lynn and Casey broken up at the time of her pregnancy, they were living in different states. Casey had even been recently posted to his MySpace.
So this is how MySpace used to look, man. Because you know me, I'm a little young. I don't think I ever got on MySpace.
Account, me and Jamie are over, and he started dating someone else. And Jamie Lynn was pursuing Kevin Federline's brother. Star Magazine's sources insisted Casey is being paid off to be the family's fall guy while the real father remains unidentified to avoid being charged with statutory... Not only...
So... but that don't make sense. He been taking care of a kid. I don't know their situation. Maybe he could be a dead. I ain't saying he a deadbeat. I'm just saying maybe we don't know everything that's going on. So let's say he's taking care of this kid. He's been doing all. That don't make sense, bro. Nah, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense, bro.
Were she and Casey pursuing different people states away? Two Spears family insiders believed the real father was actually a producer on Zoe 101 who Jamie Lynn had gotten close to as a role model, but took advantage of her. Sound familiar? So theoretically,
I don't
the
think so.
implication is that as soon as it was clear Dan had impregnated Jamie Lynn, people, either Dan's people or Nickelodeon's people, had to rush to get her on and off hometown boyfriend with the love of the spotlight to claim he was the father. And they probably paid him a nice amount for it. Then they...
How much money did they pay this man to do that? How much money did they pay this man to do that? How much? What man? I mean, it's a lot of goofies out there, but what? How much money did you pay this man to say this is my kid and he know damn well that is not? How much money could you have possibly paid him? $1 million? Y'all had $1 million to pay him? $5 million? Come on, man. Come on, bro. Producer ain't do that one, bro. He probably did all the other weird shit, but not that one, bro. Stop it.
Sold it to America by slapping their faces on the front of magazines, talking about how idyllic their little family supposedly was. I know that's basing a lot off of various anonymous sources, but it's important to note that A, this was at a time when magazines were paying good money for Spears family drama, so their sources had grown to be well established and consistent. And B,
hold on, my shit lagging kinda.
the blind item was posted by a user who went by Ent Lawyer, who was not only a prominent and pretty darn accurate blind item reporter, his identity was unmasked just this year, revealing that he was in fact a highly regarded entertainment lawyer in Los Angeles for decades. So he was hearing a lot through legal cover-ups and high-profile clients. And I mean, what he said 2 months before the pregnancy announcement was pretty spot on. But here's what really has Spears fans concerned. Look at this side-by-side of her daughter and Dan, and then compare it to the supposed father. And this might not...
Seriously? Nah.
Be the only instance of a pregnancy cover-up, because another blind item by our good pal Ent Lawyer reveals that Jamie Lynn wasn't the only one who got knocked up by this producer. He had a habit of going after tweeners, often lesser stars of the shows he worked on, which would track for Dan because he loved to discover new stars from the ensembles of his current shows. But here's the part that really is interesting. Ent Lawyer says the only other time he got someone pregnant, it was someone who is a much bigger star than Jamie Lynn. The actress got an abortion and a healthy sum of money from the producer. Everything was hushed up.
I'm not denying that a producer probably hasn't did this with the actor before on any other platform or any other show. I'm not denying that at all. It's a lot of weird shit going on. We seen it happens. NBA coaches messing with the trainers. It's the workplace. It happens. You know what I'm saying? And it's weird though, because at least the other one that I just named, at least those people are somewhat of the same age. This one is different. You got a producer who may not be 50 or whatever, but he's well over the teenage years of these girls. So it's just very, very weird and unfortunate. But I'm not saying that it doesn't happen at all. It happens a lot, but I'm just saying I don't think in this instance. I just personally, I'm not a gullible person, but at the same token, I just can't buy that this man. I don't know if he was a good father to her or not, because if we find out bro was never around and stuff like that, then okay, that'd be one thing. But how much money did they pay this man to act like he was the dad, to cover it up? How much money did y'all pay him?
The show was making way too much money. I'm just saying that could explain this cryptic message sent by someone believed to be Amanda Bynes directly to Ent Lawyer. She starts off talking about how guilty men must be and about how things are coming into the light and how she may never be able to have children after some unspecified incident that sounds like not one but actually 2 abortions. And remember how absent Amanda's parents were? How she basically moved in with Dan and his wife for a while? Well, the message specifies that the producer that put her in this situation was truly like a second father to me. And here's the crazy part. If you notice the capital letters she cheekily references, it spells out Dan did it. Is that why he kept putting references?
What?
It's
This is...
spells out.
Hold on, bro.
Here's the crazy part. If you notice the capital letters she cheekily references, it... Here's the crazy part. If you notice the capital letters she...
Last night after the news broke out, some producer and actress, all you know, who knows a producer? D-A-N. Sleep at night. Okay. This is a little crazy because I have a show at the. This is crazy. I ain't gonna lie. Like.
Cheekily references, it spells out Dan did it. Is that why he kept putting her in so many projects? To keep her happy and quiet? I mean, only a few months before this blind item, Amanda Bynes publicly spoke up on Dan after all these years in a single deleted tweet and openly compared him to Harvey Weinstein, a convicted serial abuser who systematically tormented women in the film industry under the guise of making their careers. And that Weinstein tweet isn't from her main Amanda Bynes account because that account was run by her parents. But instead, it was posted on her secret burner account under the name Ashley Banks. And before you go thinking that this could have been an impersonator, Amanda posted a picture of her actual license to the account to prove her identity. And so, if this account really is Amanda's, then we have her openly stating here that she believes her family was stealing her money and revealing even worse forms of abuse than anything we've covered about her before.
Can you imagine having an abortion at 13 because your boss impregnated you, committed because your father touched you?
But despite all that he may have put her through, Dan's
committed because...
Here's the thing about this. So... I hate that the video even got to this, bro. Mama say it. The thing about this is that your boss or the predator can say things and do things. She's not. Was to deny this account to prevent them from committing this. So she's not saying that she was raped. Because she said she was raped, that'd be a whole different thing. But she's not saying she was raped. Because when we hear your boss impregnated you, did he rape you? You know, and people will be like, bro, she's 13. How can you even, like, bro, I have to call shit for what it is. I'm not saying that she's lying. I'm not saying that she's telling the truth. I'm just saying that there's certain things we got to know for real. Because when you see this is crazy. I don't even know if I should even be saying this, bro. Committed because your father touched you. What's that part about? I don't know, bro. Was it consensual? Because if she's not saying that yes, she's 13. I get that for people typing already. Yes, she's 13, but was this consensual? Because we can't say that he just, like, did he rape her? Is that what she's saying? Like, I'm not saying she lying or not. That's why I don't like talking about this type of shit. We just got to know everything. This is crazy, though.
Because your father touched you.
But despite all that he may have put her through, Dan still scorned Amanda. Which leads me to our final blind item that really just ties in a scary amount of what we've uncovered through this whole video. Basically, this person claims that Victoria Justice was blackballed for not sleeping with Dan. But even more disturbing are quotes like how he initially didn't try to sleep with her because she was over 18 for most of the show's run. And, quote, he had a handful of actresses on other shows who were keeping him busy. All but one of them were underage. She mentions the producer cutting her down from being the name star of the show to having fewer and fewer scenes by the end, which was very accurate for Victorious. Ariana Grande and Liz Gillies took over a lot of the screen time, and that seemed to be
I never noticed
they were
that.
willing to play the game. Liz was dating Dan's friend, and Ariana, well, according to this, she was one of the victims he was sleeping with too, because she was legal but loved to role play super young. So she got the good lines and the crossover and the new show opportunities with Sam and Kat, which honestly, that gave me flashbacks to this clip of Dan mocking Ariana for not sounding even younger and higher pitched and enough like his ideal version of her character Kat.
Action!
Okay, what did the young shrimp say?
What did the young shrimp say? It sounded like, what did the young...
It is shocking showing just
He's a
how
weirdo,
much
bro.
evidence there is out there against this man. And yet, he slides past.
Listen. So he's saying that he slept with Ariana Grande, slept with the other girl we just talked about, but Victoria Justice wasn't going for it. That's why she got blackballed, and that's why the show probably ended. Because I don't know, but I'm not saying that he did like I said for the other girl. I'm just saying though, like we have to know everything. Because what they do with these videos, bro. Because right is right, wrong is wrong. Sleeping with a 13-year-old, you're a weirdo, bro. I know he wasn't. There's no age he could possibly been. He wasn't 15. He was above 30, probably 40. But what I want to know is just like we have to know with that situation because it's wrong, period. But we also can't. Did he rape her? He manipulated her, obviously, to have sex with her. But I just don't want to throw. That's a serious thing. As a man, you don't want to just throw that anyway. You want to know the full. Ladies not gonna understand that, but man, as a man, you want to know the full situation, what's going on. We can't. That's why sometimes even with videos, bro, it's hard to really know what's truthful, what's not truthful. So I'm just throwing that out there for people who don't like to listen. I shouldn't even have to say that shit. If you take it away, you take it away. But nah, this is Dan Schneider. You looking very bad in this video, man.
By doing things like setting up an easy press interview.
I'm gonna react to the Drake Bell one next.
An adult actor on one of his shows who was
Tebow?
very much a side character, mind you, and who benefits from staying on Dan's good side and gets.
He did get more scenes, more and more scenes. He became a main character.
A real, unbiased reporter ask him the questions. Alexa actually gave a great response to this video, pointing out that not only did Dan have the opportunity to participate in Quiet on Set and said no, but then in his totally controlled interview, he completely avoided addressing Jeanette or any of the specific writer's room accusations, and also framed all of it as him being the victim.
You're embarrassed. Not embarrassed enough to go reach out to the people that you actually harmed.
But I will point out that Dan made such a big deal about how upset he was when he found out what Brian Peck did to Drake Bell. And to be fair, Drake himself said he had no problem with how Dan handled that. But
what did he do though?
About going into that courtroom,
I never heard about that
tons
one.
of Hollywood people on Brian's side. You know who he didn't mention sitting on his side of the courtroom? Dan. Dan was happy to support him behind the scenes until now when it benefits him. And if you're thinking if he's that upset there's no way he did anything inappropriate with his actors himself, just remember that both can be true. Just like Dan can be a fun guy and a volatile bully, a dream maker and a dream killer, Dan can think that what Brian Peck did as a 40-something-year-old man to a teen boy is terrible, while also not seeing anything wrong with himself taking advantage of the power he had over teen girls on set. And why all of this still matters and why Dan is starting an apology tour is because now Dan Schneider is attempting to step back into the world of kids' content with an upcoming Henry Danger movie already announced.
Not watching that shit.
And for the sake of the kids on set, if we're gonna let him waltz back into working with children, I hope he at least takes some notes from Miranda Cosgrove. That's right, Miranda is the lead producer on the new iCarly reboot series and the main child actor on that set raved about how safe she felt and how fun the whole experience was. And by the way, you can tell Miranda wants to distinguish her preferred style of children's content with what she has the characters saying in this clip.
I asked our fans to send in ideas for what they want to see me do on iCarly.
Well, let's delete all the ones from Mandy Valdez and any with the word feet in the file name.
I'll go ahead and give Miranda the last word, but let's make sure to keep up with this story because it's so important that we keep holding these people accountable.
Facts.
And in fact, we have so much more to get into about.
Yeah, I got a lot more to do too, man. I'll catch you on the next one. But anyways, man, that's crazy. Dan Schneider, you looking very terrible in this video, man. You need to get your shit together, bro. This is terrible. Yeah, you should. They should. I mean, I don't know. I ain't gonna say what they should or shouldn't do. That's not my decision to make. But this is crazy. I never really knew any. This is why I say we can't fantasize over these shows and all this because you really don't know what's going on. The best shows of the world had the most bull. Hey, don't get me wrong. Bullshit's gonna happen. People not gonna get along. That's cool. That's normal. But all this shit is not normal. Anyways, man, if y'all like this video, y'all know what to do, man. Rest in peace to Kari, X, my grandma, both our grandmas, and I'm gone, man. BamTime.